The United States and Iran have once again exchanged large-scale war threats in their latest show of escalating tensions. Washington has signaled that a powerful naval presence is now heading toward the region, while emphasizing that its use is not the preferred outcome. The warning comes amid renewed pressure on Tehran over violent crackdowns on protesters and concerns about the possible revival of Iran's nuclear program. Multiple U.S. warships, including a major aircraft carrier and guided missile destroyers, are expected to arrive in the Middle East within days, underscoring the seriousness of the situation. In addition to naval deployments, expanded air defense systems are also being considered for the Middle East, a move seen as crucial to protecting U.S. bases from potential Iranian attacks. This military buildup significantly broadens Washington's strategic options, allowing for stronger regional defense as tensions rise, while also leaving room for further action following previous strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. In June, the deployments are framed as precautionary measures, reflecting heightened vigilance rather than an immediate push toward open conflict. Warships began moving from the Asia-Pacific region last week as tensions between Washington and Tehran intensified following months of harsh crackdowns on protests across Iran. Repeated warnings of possible intervention were issued in response to reports of demonstrators being killed, although the protests showed signs of easing in recent days. Claims also emerged that executions inside Iran were halted after pressure mounted, with assertions that hundreds of planned hangings were canceled, signaling a temporary pause in the government's most severe actions. The United States has a long history of reinforcing its military presence in the Middle East during periods of heightened tension, often under the banner of defensive readiness. However, last year's deployments were notably larger, preceding direct strikes on Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Washington has made it clear that any attempt by Tehran to restart its nuclear program following those attacks would trigger further action, with assurances that new facilities would be targeted wherever they might emerge. Iran is now expected to provide detailed reports to the United Nations nuclear watchdog regarding the condition of sites struck by U.S. forces and the status of nuclear material believed to be stored there. This includes hundreds of kilograms of uranium enriched to high levels, material that could theoretically be further refined for nuclear weapons. At the same time, uncertainty remains over whether protests inside Iran could flare up again. What began as small demonstrations over economic hardship in Tehran quickly spread nationwide, evolving into one of the most serious internal challenges the country has faced in years. Casualty figures linked to the unrest continue to rise, with thousands of deaths reported, including both protesters and security personnel, despite the scale of the violence. The exact number of victims remains uncertain, highlighting the opacity surrounding events on the ground. Alongside the military pressure, Washington has also moved toward economic measures, signaling that steep tariffs on countries continuing business with Iran will soon take effect, adding financial strain to an already fragile situation. Despite repeated assurances that a massive naval force is now positioned as a precaution, uncertainty continues to dominate the outlook. The presence of a large fleet serves as both a warning and a deterrent, signaling readiness while leaving room for restraint. Whether the situation escalates into direct confrontation or cools through pressure and diplomacy remains unclear, but the message is unmistakable: the region is being watched closely, and any move could reshape the balance overnight.